Welcome back for round two,
Yes, we welcome you. We,
where I will try not to touch my ear so much. So maybe I just hold it the whole time.
I will be fidgeting with myself the whole time.
We will just. What are
So
we doing today?
that's what I was gonna ask you.
Let me just grab my notes.
Oh yeah, notes and notes, jokes and jokes, bros and bros, bitches and hoes.
That's jumping into being judgmental way too early. So let's save that.
Okay,
Um,
save the judgment for later. Maybe.
it's like a shoebox on a pillow on a.
Yes,
Okay.
MacGyver.
I tried to be cute, but the reality
Mhm.
is
That is cute.
this. Um. Oh, I was thinking like trends, but like trends that are like, oh, have you heard of this new trend where like you get your cat to wrestle a dog? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Have you heard of that?
no.
What have you
But
heard?
that's just okay.
I don't know trends. I'm not up on trends. I'm 100
You know
years
what I'm
old.
saying? Like, oh, there's this trend where you throw the
Right.
throw the bucket down the well. Okay, here we are again. Here we are.
Grateful.
This is my
Grateful to
note.
be together. What is
This
this
is my
again?
notes.
Underline.
That's how far I got.
If anybody wants to tell us about trends so we can learn, that'll be great.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
fill us in
The
about all these
go
fucking
to
trends.
look. I don't think go to look is like a whole thing. It doesn't have to be a whole
Okay,
thing. It
let's
doesn't
talk
have to
about
be
that
like
for a
these are
second. Because I
topics.
was just thinking about here's what, you can edit this out if you don't want me to talk about this. But
Mention it all.
since we've been friends for 1 million years, I've always
Yes.
looked to you as my style person, my fashion person. We used to go out and then we would put our outfits together,
Oh,
like borrow from each other's closets back when I was skinny, and
moving.
um we could fit into each other's shit. Our feet are almost the same size. We would borrow each other's everything. It was the best. It was like having
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
sisterhood traveling pants. So I look to you to this day to put me together. Now, I can't blame you for this because you did not consult on what's happening today, and I
Right.
apologize. I should have consulted you, but your time is worth money, and you do style
You
me.
look you look beautiful. You
Do I
needed
change
no
anything? Do I take it off?
consulting. We're having a cute bed. I'm in a bed. I'm in my bed. It's my bed with your artwork above it.
Ah,
Because,
beautiful.
anyways, little plug for all our
So you
listeners.
started working with me like professionally.
All
I
right,
would
thank you.
start hiring you to dress me for these things that I like. What do I wear to Louis Vuitton? How do I
Mhm.
fit in? And I think it also started where I was starting to come to your fashion shows and see you on the runway. And I can't just show up like me. I can't be a schmo. I need to look the part. Oh, you're frozen. God damn it. Do you want to build a snowman? She froze. God damn.
Remixed.
Oh, she's back.
Madonna.
She's
Okay.
back. Anyway, I love your sense of style, and something you have taught me is when in doubt, go all black, simplify. But what is your go-to thing? I know it's different with
Well,
your mom
this
and you're
is
doing Power
funny.
Circle.
Right. It's funny because when I saw a go to look, I was like, oh, wet.
Wet look.
But because that's my go to, if I have to, like, oh, I have to just not be braless in a sweater in bed, it's a wet look.
You mean your hair is slicked, or you mean your
I don't know. It's just
face
a
is
wet look.
lubed
I
up,
don't know
or
how to.
it's a fresh out of the
Yes,
shower?
yes. There's no like, oh, this isn't my hair when it's usually always a wet look.
Hmm.
I love a like wet face, like a dewy
Hmm.
face. I just love a like, oh, she looks wet.
Give her the moisture, but don't say the word
Yes, but
moist.
that doesn't, that just made it this small. So my go-to look.
Well, there's something there. Can I
No,
just like
yes,
here
please,
with
because
this
I'm like,
mullet, if I tried to slick it back, it would be bizarre. However, you also taught me like anybody can do a wet look because I can like just slick back the
yes,
sides or slick it
look
up.
at that.
And then there's
Five
instant
different looks right there.
right.
Yes.
Yes. So people with
Okay,
different
thank you.
hair can achieve different levels of a wet look.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. At keeping it light.
I want to talk more about outfits because this is,
Okay.
it's something that I always loved about you. I talked about it on our first fucking thing that we had love at first sight. One of the
I'm
reasons
really
because you
good at
looked
this.
so cool. You had these like beautiful, like cool bangs and like little ponytail, and you had this like ringer shirt on, and I was like, who is this bitch?
No,
And
I
you tell
didn't.
me that I had like Archers of Loaf t-shirts, so we bonded over
Yeah.
bands and
Yes.
music
Yes.
and like, but then
Putting
I
this away.
was like, she just always looks so fucking cool. And I want to like absorb that energy.
Right, but that's how I felt about you.
Well, that's great. Thank you. But back to you. I know that you've shared with me that you studied fashion, like not in a university, but in
Right.
life. Like you studied up, you know your designers, you watch shows, you pay attention. Can you tell
Yeah.
me more about that, please?
Okay. Huh. Well, really?
You don't want to.
'Cause I'm like, wow, it all goes back to
Yeah.
1990.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me all
So
the shit. And this goes into childhood
I
memory.
always think, yes, like their creativity is in all of us, and there's different talents, that, whatever. Um,
Agree.
but I think we finding safety in our rooms. Let's start there. We became very creative, right? It was the 80s. There's no TV. There's no, by the time we were like preteens, teenagers, we had boom boxes, and that was everything. That was life changing.
Everything. The cassettes, and you
So
could
for me,
record
it
on
was
the
just
radio.
like creating outfits
Mm.
or like my grandmother started getting me fashion magazines when I was like 12, and I
Oh,
would cut them out, and then that graduated.
you froze. Hold, please, while you unfreeze. I don't know why. I mean, is it my end? Hold, frozen. Don't want to build a snowman right now. Maybe it's my internet. Okay, you're back. Go
Okay,
back to your grandmother got you fashion magazines. You'd cut them out.
my grandmother got me fashion magazines. Yes. Specifically, I had a subscription to W. So
Wow.
that had all those like little skinny runway pictures, right? Which were
Yes.
so cool. Because I didn't care about I don't care about anything else. I want to see what's on the runway, because that, like, I knew from a young age, like, that's
Hmm.
fashion. That's straight from, I just whatever. So
This
I
is good for the
had
internet, people.
so yeah,
Love
I
that.
collected magazine images and like taped them all over my walls.
Mhm.
And from there would just try to make outfits out of what I had. Or like at one point I was wearing like my brother's boxers, which that sounds so gross right now.
No, it sounds adorable. What were you wearing them with? Of course you remember.
But this was, of course I do. But
Do you
this was
remember
like
every? Oh,
13. It was like the boxers, an oversized t-shirt. I would wear this today.
hmm.
And then that's when my hair was still long with like little barrettes.
Oh,
and then probably, I don't know what the shoe was. Probably it was probably a Samba. I had these green gazelles. Anyways, whatever.
I love that.
So I just
I'm
always
also
put,
doing that, but in a different ways. But yeah,
but I also like, I will admit that I steal from everybody. Like you see somebody and you're like, oh hell yeah, that's amazing. That with that, okay. And then you put your own, like you don't need to look at someone and be like, I'm doing that head to toe.
every
But
artist steals.
I mean, you
Every
can.
artist steals. I'll die on that.
Um, so it's like the screenshots in my phone are, it's ridiculous. But also, okay, so learning about fashion, um, I just did. It's like I don't know. I
You
was
had an
just so
inherent
taught this way.
knowing.
I don't.
You have, that's your inherent understanding, I think, of shapes, proportions,
Okay, yeah,
where
yes. That I think that's
I
what's more
struggle with
important
that.
than like, oh, I can put this outfit on you. It's like, no, I have to see that on you. And okay, that's not a shape for you, or that's not, whatever.
That's part of your
Yes, that's,
talent.
thank you. I'll take it.
Yeah, take it. It's huge. And I know that it also like it's in your house, like it's everywhere. Like you
Yeah,
are,
it translates, yeah,
yeah,
everywhere.
like you can't help but curate your beautiful
Yeah,
life, which is important because for
yeah,
me personally, my mental health also depends on like making my surroundings pretty wherever I am, even if it's in like a
1,000,000%.
studio hole in the wall, apartment. But you
Yeah.
with shapes is so cool, and that's what saves my life. Because sometimes I'll like put on this thing, and I'm like, why does this not work? And I ask you all the time, like, what am I doing wrong here? And you'll be like, well, because these pants are this shape, the shoe needs to be a point, or the shoe needs to be this shape. Like you will just
Yeah.
know.
Like I'd love to talk about those things, but I don't need to be saying anything to anybody because it's very specific to me knowing you and your shape and because it's like, oh, like how I tell you, I'm like, it's because you need to show more skin because this is covering, or if you're going to show ankle, you could, it's like, do I say those out loud? Because is that a real rule? Is someone going to hear this and be like, Molly said this is a rule?
No, Molly is saying the rules vary from person to person
Yeah,
because we
thank you.
all have our
Yeah,
own proportions. Like that's what I'm hearing, and that's what I love about
yeah,
it.
yes,
You're not saying,
yes.
oh, here's my rules.
No, fashion's for everybody. It's
Right.
for everybody.
That's why
And
it's so hard to answer the question, what's your like
yes,
go-to? Because it's like, well, so
what's
many,
the day? Give me
yeah,
what's the situation? Where are we going? Who am I seeing?
right.
What city am I in?
It's true.
Who could I possibly bump into and fall in love with?
Oh,
Not now, but you know what I'm saying.
yes. And
What rich person can I run into on the street that's going to support my life? That's what I mean.
yes. RuPaul always says, dress for the job you want.
Just the job you want. Just for the job. Dress for the job you want.
Hmm.
Dress for there's always like, it's this, and then you take away a piece.
Hmm.
Where I feel it's this, and then you add a piece.
Hmm.
Like that thing I told you the other day about if you're gonna dress that way, dress that way.
Hmm. That's beautiful.
Yeah, just yeah. There's
My
no
soul
comfort.
just relaxed hearing that.
Yeah, there's no comfort zone with fashion. It's on 11. I was gonna say no one's gonna understand that.
What do you mean?
Put it on 11.
Hmm. Turn the fucking volume up.
Turn it to 11. Yeah.
Go there. If
Um,
you're gonna go there,
yeah,
commit to
yeah.
it. Go there. Um,
Look at a picture 20 years ago and go, I should have taken that belt off.
mhm.
Learn. You learn like, well, I'll never belt something like that again, or I'll never, but also trends are changing. That's another thing with shapes, like that never changes.
Shapes never change, but trends do.
Your shape, like minus being pregnant, weight gain, weight loss, age, whatever.
Yeah,
Benjamin Button,
I wish.
whatever it is, that's still your shape. So like trends come and go, but like I think especially with age, if you're gonna wear a trend, it still has to fall into that shape or dimension, like the rule of, thirds.
Mm. I love when you talk shit like this because it's like math, which doesn't,
But I'm like,
it
see, in
doesn't,
my head, I'm just like, am I just saying
no, I love
nonsense?
it.
Okay.
Like my brain doesn't really do math well. I think maybe that's why I'm like, I'm a visual artist, a painter, an illustrator, and I can, if it's on a flat surface, I can understand it in my brain. Whereas
Mm.
I look to you to understand three-dimensional.
But that's what I'm looking at. So, like, I'm looking at you, my canvas.
Yeah. That's
So,
I just love it. It's so
I
cool.
just,
I just love the way your brain works.
ah,
So you were born having this talent,
I
but you
think it
also
was
couldn't
like, so I
have.
always said, so I'm sorry. I always said it's because I was poor. It's because I had to put things together. It's because I had to get what I got from here and get what I, or whatever. But,
Yeah.
and that does have a lot to do with it. But there's just so many times when I see something and I'm like, I can make that.
Hmm. You know how to make clothes,
Yeah. Well,
those.
slow down. I know how to sew with a sewing machine.
That's great. I'll take it. That's huge. I can't figure out the fucking sewing machine. The fact that you embrace this about yourself and you just
Yes, but
I
if you when you wanted to be a better painter,
Mhm.
when you're like, I can take this to the next level, what did you do?
I still want to be a better painter every day. I'm like, I
Right.
be better. I just
So it's just
do it more.
it's
And I
yeah,
look at stuff, like you're saying, I look at stuff that other people have done. And I'm like, I love that. Oh, I don't like that. Or this provokes a reaction. Why? Do I want to
right.
be more like this or do I not? How can, and also how can I bring my authentic self to
Mm.
whatever I'm doing? Uh, yes. Study the greats. And the greats are whoever you think is great. Like whoever I think is great. Doesn't have to be what everybody thinks is great, which goes
No.
to things that everybody likes and I don't like. Like not everybody's going to think your favorite designer is
Yeah.
great. If you think it's
Yeah.
fucking great, then
Correct.
it's great.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
Maybe not.
and that changes.
Yes.
That changes.
Yes. But there are some things that are like classic and timeless
Yes.
that you have
Yes.
helped me to understand that too. When I look back to photos of us when we were younger, and I was barely
Yeah.
scraping by, but you in all these pictures, like you're wearing these looks. We didn't have a lot of money at all, but the things looked timeless together. Like it was classic. Like I never see a
Yeah.
picture of you and like, ooh, that's cringe. I'm always like, how the fuck was she doing that shit back then?
Really? I
Yeah.
see some cringe.
Well, you have more of an eye than I do. But,
Thank
there's a
you.
timelessness about your sensibility, I feel. So
Okay.
that's a gift. So thank you for sharing that with me and the world.
You know what? That's what I'm here for.
Yes.
Now,
And
I don't know. I could never look at something and be like, wow. I'll never have that.
it's never good enough because you're an artist and we're our own worst
No,
critics. Is that what you're
no,
saying?
it's no. I'm saying like, there's no reason to look at something and say, I could never look like that. I could never have that. I could never dress like that. I could never whatever. Yes, you can't. Like I just never thought that way. It was like,
Hmm.
oh, I have a shirt like that. And if I do it with this, or I do this, or I can cut this. And then if I step, like I can do this here, I can create this shape,
That's cool that you knew there
even
was a way
like
to make
all
it.
these huge, like that blazer I made. And all I did was like, it's a thrifted, ginormous blazer. And I just put a button in it so that, like that's it. It's just a button.
But it created a different
And
shape.
even that, like, that's not just any blazer. That's like, okay, this creates the correct shape on my shoulder so that if I did button it here,
Mhm.
right? Like it's really, there's, stop me if this is
No, I love this shit.
okay. Okay. I'm saying it because you always are like, people don't know that
I don't fucking know this shit. So maybe they do. Maybe they
shape.
don't. I think
shapes.
people want to hear that from you because
Yeah.
I want to hear that from you, and I'm your, I talk to you like every day. We've known each other for 100 years, and I still get inspired, and I'm like, how does she do it? So I
I,
love to hear about it's your
I
process.
love
Hear
you
your
because
process.
I've never found, okay, here's it. I've never found sexy or like, I don't know. I've never related that to anything outside of, I don't know what I'm saying. Hold on. Let's start from here.
Mhm.
I am masculine presenting, but like my feminine is the shapes.
Mm.
I'm not going to tear anyone down for their fashion
That's always
choices. That's
what I love about you too.
yours.
Like
That's
you
yours.
meet people where they are and you don't gatekeep and you don't judge. Like you're not like, oh, look at their outfit. You're just like, whatever, they're rocking their thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
which is very rare in people who actually have an ability and a talent.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can be like self-righteous about it.
And looking how, like, dressing and feeling so good changes everything.
Yes. Talk about alchemy.
Specifically, like you're in New York where you walk around, there's constantly different people. I'm in a smaller town, much smaller town.
Well,
But
you can. You
if
can.
you're gonna figure out who you are fashion wise, just go to New York, figure it out real quick. Because you'd be like, I'm
Mm.
gonna try this nakedness today. Oh, that went well. So let's go in, like whatever. Go find yourself in New York City.
Try things, look at things, find
Mm,
yourself.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It makes my day. It makes me happy. It makes my day better when I love how I look.
100 million fucking
Yeah.
percent.
It whole like I hold myself with more confidence. That rubs off.
Yes. And you're having more, for me, I'm having more fun because I don't have to like have this running thoughts. I don't have to have the thought in my head of like, oh God, I don't think I like what I'm wearing, but I can't go home and change. I'm just like, I know that I like this and I feel good in this. So it like takes an element of anxiety off the fucking table, which makes me have more fun. I really love to hear you talk about fashion, and I'm sorry if it's uncomfortable. Like when people ask me to talk about art, because I do art, I get fucking uncomfortable. So I understand there's a level of like, ooh.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. So thank
I'm like,
you.
what am I signing?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. It's because when things are now that things are so mainstream, that that just goes back into gatekeeping and all of that.
Yeah. Well, that's
Just
all.
how we
Yeah.
were raised in a time without any of this social media, without anything, without
Yes.
computer. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a whole different. But anyways,
But it did used to be growing up for me that everything cool that I thought was cool, when I was in school, that rhymes, they were all
yeah.
keeping their shit and like, oh, you
Yeah.
can't comment on this.
Ooh,
I'm not going to tell you.
What's this band? Oh,
You don't already know them?
oh, that was the biggest thing. Was like, oh,
Yeah. But you never
mm,
did that. So that's also why I just love
why
being
would
friends
you
with you.
do that?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah, yeah.
Keep the
Doesn't make
gate.
sense.
Lose the gate. Get it,
Yeah,
unlock it.
yeah.
Get it
Key
out of
master.
there. Get it out of here. Don't put that in.
Love you.
Love you.
Never.
Love you. Bye.